You know, I want to do an intro, but I'm having so much fun already. You guys haven't even seen that part, so I know we're going to have fun with Keith today. Eddie's the co-host. I am going to do a little bit of an intro because it's important to do so we can lead into what we're talking about, but we're already laughing and having a good time, so that's a great start. All right, my friends. So welcome back to another episode of the Gunn Show with featured co-host Eddie Saunders, the show where we dive into people, products, and partnerships driving modern manufacturing. Today's guest is someone who understands the power of connection in more ways than one. Joining us is Keith Brown, president of FactoryLink, a manufacturer's rep agency that's been supporting the Midwest since 1987. With a deep focus on end user and distributor success, Keith has built a business around creating synergy across workholding, part making, and metrology. We're diving into how multiple line selling opens doors, why synergy isn't just a buzzword, and how manufacturers and distributors alike can benefit from smarter, more strategic partnerships. Keith, welcome to the show, my friend.
Thanks for having me. Happy to be here.
Bit long-winded. I usually just make things up on the fly, but I think it's important for you guys to understand where we're coming from, what we're talking about. Eddie actually knows this young man really well, one-on-one type well, working together well. So I'm actually going to allow Eddie to start this whole thing off, buddy. How are you, man?
Dude, it is well with my soul. We're here at the Advanced Manufacturing Expo to make some noise with some individuals who clearly know how to make some noise. But I know that I'm not the star. We got to talk about Keith. We got to talk about his company and where he's taking manufacturing. I'm excited to dive in, Tony.
Yeah, absolutely. Thank goodness you have the Contra cheat code of up, down, left, right, ABBA. Anybody remember that? Yeah? Any Gen Xers out there with me? Okay. The original Nintendo. All right, Keith, let's get into that question Eddie mentioned. Let's talk about the company, what you guys do, how long you've been around, what you're looking forward to.
Yep. So I acquired the company in July of 24. We've been around since 1987, as you mentioned. We represent multiple manufacturers. We cover the Great Lakes, so our focus is in the Midwest. We're a very technical team. That's part of what I wanted to talk about today is, it's kind of funny. I saw a post on LinkedIn from Titans of CNC that said...
No, he didn't. He didn't see that. He didn't see it. I'm just kidding.
Well, it's not a great thing. It's actually why I'm bringing it up.
Oh, okay, well, keep going, please.
Tell me more. Tell me more.
Please keep going.
So it was, what is the best lesson your tooling rep has ever taught you? And all the comments, the comment section, I mean, it made me feel like we needed to have a conversation like we're going to have today. A lot of the comments in that section were from machinists, from engineers. What's a tooling rep?
Oh, wow.
What's that mean? And there's a lot of this misconception out there right now that tooling reps are just, we rep multiple lines, we don't know anything, but we show up when you call us. My team is a technical team. I'm a technical guy. Both of my salespeople started out on machine shop floors. We know setup, we know work holding, we know tool holding, we know that stuff. So we're not saying that we're smarter than anyone by any means, right? But because we have multiple lines and because we go into several manufacturers a day, we see what a lot of smart people do every day, right? So people smarter than me are doing a lot of this stuff, right? I get to see it and then I get to duplicate it when you bring me into your shop. And that's we don't talk about it, right? We don't tell secrets, we don't share trade secrets, things like that. But we remember things, we see things, and then we can go out and we can make different stuff happen on your shop floor that maybe you never even think of, right?
Yeah, I want to step back real quick and just say, I'm just kidding, Titan Gilroy. I hope we're still friends, buddy. And it's great that posts like that are made because we do get to see sometimes the disgruntled perspective of the folks out there, right? We keep a lot to ourselves, but sometimes we just want to let loose, right? I'm gonna mention something to you, Keith. And Eddie, you might know this already, but for a decade, I was doing consulting work for a high-speed manufacturing company, an accessory that went into a machine, and we worked with tooling companies around the world. And that was when I got to know intimately the difference between reps and distributors.
Yep.
And I would not disagree with you as the general perspective of what reps and distributors are misunderstood. And what you said is they come in, they sell me a product that they're pushed to do so they can get a commission off of it, but they don't know anything, and that's an unfair statement because of people like you, because of the history, because you're technical. And I think it takes a ton of effort to learn as many lines intimately as you do and make sure that you're taking care of the people you're taking care of.
Absolutely. Yep. That's the biggest key. It's understanding those lines and you have to have a technical mindset. So when we walk into a customer, we are the manufacturer, right? like that we're an arm of the manufacturer. We partner with manufacturers that treat us like they're direct salespeople. That's the key. A lot of them are in a hybrid model. So a lot of them have direct salespeople. So we're challenged to not only work with that sales leadership, right, but also create our own relationships and create our own presence. So on that note, understanding the channel and how the channel operates, right? That's a big piece of it. I mean, you hit the nail on the head there. A lot of people don't understand where reps fall into the picture, right? So you've got a distributor who's on site every day. That's how we multiply ourselves. So those distributors are extremely important, right? We're trying to change some of the language too. Get away from the word distributor. It's got a different connotation that it carries with it, right? So we call them supply channel partners because that's truly what we're trying to do. They're part of the channel. We try and stay loyal wherever we can. We try and be selective with the lines that we bring to them. But supply channel partners are in a unique situation where they're kind of forced to offer whatever the end user wants, right? Mm-hmm. Reps are in a much different world. So that's where we can specialize. Where a distributor might have 100 different lines on their books, we have 10, right? Mm-hmm. And that's where read the catalog, understand the catalog, become an expert, be the person, right? I used to always laugh, and it's not a knock on distributor salespeople by any means, but they're like, I'll get the guy, right? That's what we've become. We're the guy, right? We're that salesperson. We're that expert that needs to come in, help close. I mean, let's be honest, with the amount of information available out there right now, most decisions are 80% made before I even walk in the door. So
Thank you for saying that out loud. I totally agree with you.
It's so if you come in and you don't know 80% of that catalog, you're not a value add. You're useless in that situation. You can't just be a donut slinger. You can't just walk in and say, I'm here for the week. Here's your donuts. Here's a catalog. Call me if you need me.
Know some folks like that too, though.
That's not what we are. The business has changed. It's not solely done on relationships only anymore. It's evolved into, I mean, you have to be a technical asset. That's where we are now. So.
Otherwise, we can grab a beer and talk about sports.
Exactly. Then we're just
But
buddies.
I need you to help me with the technical process.
Exactly. Yep.
Eddie, you have a great opportunity to work with Keith. What are some of the insights that you have learned about the company that you try to share with the world to help them understand? Because he obviously has a perspective that he sees day to day as an owner, as what he wants to grow and what he wants the world to see. And I know that you liaison some of that as well. Where do you think the world needs to learn more about what FactoryLink does and how they can benefit the factories out there?
Well, honestly, FactoryLink had lots of ambition prior to. There's so many things you wanted to do, but it was just bandwidth and trying to make sure they're still maintaining what they have and where they're trying to go. And so it's been, honestly, a great opportunity to not only learn more about FactoryLink and how you operate, but also all these lines that you take very, very seriously. Like, you're not going wide as you are deep, and I think it is an absolute value add. So you're not just slinging your donuts. I love that, by the way. That's such a great reference. Right? And it's been a really awesome opportunity to not only learn how you're connecting with these partners, with these principals that you're working with, and I love also that you're taking the focus that you have and amplifying them individually. You're doing things very, very differently. You're disturbing a lot of complacency within the industry. And so instead of trying to push everyone and their sister, you're being very close and, for lack of a better term, very intimate with these individuals. And I think it's gonna have a net positive effect because you're not trying to go entirely too wide. You can actually be the expert and not the catalog person.
Yep.
Because you see that and you combat that a lot. And I love how you use the word synergy, and I think it's way more applicable in your scenario based off what you've done. You probably have to explain a lot of what you're doing, but once you get into it, again, you're not doing it the way that it's always been done. And I admire that a lot. You're not relying on just those relationships. Do they matter? Of course, that's why we're here in the first place, right?
Absolutely. Yep, the relationships matter. I don't want to downplay the importance of the relationships by any means. But the synergy is the key. Being able, I always excuse my sailor mouth here, but I always tell my guys, whole ass solutions, yes, not half-ass sales. That is not who we are. That is not who we will be. I want to walk in and I want to look at everything from start to finish. So I spent a decade with NTK cutting tools prior to purchasing FactoryLink. Largest manufacturer of ceramic cutting tools in the world, okay? Everybody, when they have a problem, they blame the tool because that's what touches the part. They don't look at their work holding. They don't look at their setup. They don't look at whether or not their granite table is in spec or leveled out. They call the cutting tool guy. So I got a deep dive very early in my career on problem solving. You have to look at all of it. You don't have a choice because otherwise you just have to say, well, my tool sucks, you know, and I'm not going to do that. You know what I mean? Because it's not true. Right? So, but it never fails. You know, all the quality standards you had to meet on a cutting tool, we met them every time, right? But it was always your problem to go in and fix. And I can't tell you how many times I've walked into shops and said, well, your setup's not rigid enough. Or you're using a steel boring bar. Why aren't you using a carbide boring bar? Why aren't you using an anti-vibe? All of a sudden they start thinking, the wheels start turning, right? And then I go back to what's the best lesson your tooling rep ever taught you? And nobody remembers that. You know what they remember? The one tooling rep that came in and didn't know a damn thing about what he was representing. That's what they remember. And we got to start changing that tone. I mean, and that's what we're out to do. I mean, you mentioned we go deep. We don't go wide. So we're very focused. We're very systematic. We're very organized. You know, we're not a one-man band either. We're an organization. You know that. You work with us. I mean, I remember you came in, all right, let's build out a marketing calendar. I'm like, I'll share ours already. Here we go, right? Like we're already a few steps ahead.
100%, yeah.
So it's a, you know, and that's an advantage to these manufacturers out there that want to either approach a hybrid model and bring us on, or that want to just go a full rep commission only type scenario because they don't carry any of the overhead then. You know, insurance, benefits, sales guys are expensive. Right? And it's a changing market, it's a changing environment, and we need to be ready to move in that direction.
Hey there, manufacturers. Need to sell your surplus CNC machinery? Whether it's vertical machining centers, CNC lathes, or machines from top brands like Yazda, Matsur, or Watchon, let me introduce you to Revelation Machinery. If you've never worked with a used machinery dealer before, here's what you're missing. Selling equipment on your own can mean long waits, low offers, and lots of time chasing leads. Revelation Machinery changes the game, bringing nationwide exposure to your machines. Their team is located across the USA, so wherever you are, you've got a local expert on your side. Revelation doesn't just list your equipment, they use targeted marketing methods to get your machines in front of serious buyers. Revelation Machinery is committed to fair pricing, full transparency, and taking care of the details. From paperwork to logistics and even rigging if you need it, they're there every step of the way so you're not juggling any part of the process alone. Ready to let a trusted partner handle the heavy lifting? Head to revelationmachinery.com/The Gunn Show to see how easy it is to turn that surplus machinery into cash with Revelation Machinery. Let's talk about some of those changes, Keith, if that's all right. And I'm going to step back into, my previous lifetime as well, back in 2012 when I started working directly with training reps and distributors out there and understanding a lot of what you just said, actually, that the reps pay attention to the details. They understand the mathematics. They understand how to make something work. Oftentimes, they don't need to call the headquarters, but sometimes they do, whereas distributorships are pretty much a call center. Give me a call. I have an order. I'll send it to you, that kind of thing. However, during that time, and this is just me regurgitating information that I learned from rep agencies, some of the folks out there would tell me, I'm not sure if we're going to be around much longer. I'm not sure what we're going to do to evolve to make sure that we're needed. But you guys have continued to evolve to make sure that you're needed. What has some of that evolution been like to make sure that the industry still understands how freaking important you guys are? Because new technologies, we're at a show right now, AME, there's new technology, and it's my responsibility to know as much technology as I can. And there's new technology I haven't seen again, and that's fascinating.
Yep. The rep has become more important, in my opinion. We talked about earlier that 80% of the decision is already made. That final 20% is the key to that manufacturer's success. You can sit behind a computer and make 80% of the decision, that's fine. But there's the devil's in the details, right? Your pass or fail is going to be a good rep that comes in and knows their product and can get you across that finish line. That's a true partnership. That's where we come in. I've heard a lot of the same things. The rep model is dead.
Mm-hmm.
The rep model's not dead. Everyone's looking for cost savings right now. We are only paid if we sell, right? So it's in our best interest at that point, not only to offer you the best solution, but offer you a solution that maybe we know of that we don't even represent. I mean, there's a lot of that goes on. I can walk into any shop and I can make a cutting tool run better. It doesn't matter what brand it is, right? It's the know-how, right? And that's the differentiator, okay? So, I mean, that's the kind of skill set that I expect from my team. That's the value I expect them to bring. And I'll be honest, the manufacturers that we represent and the manufacturers that we go in on a daily basis and help them with their processes, they appreciate that. We need to embrace that change. What you'll see with a lot of rep groups is exactly what you said. Everybody says the model's dead, so I'm just gonna pick up a bunch of lines, cash a check, and I'm off and, driving off into the sunset. I'm not a sunsetter. I'm a doer. I'm a hands-on type of person. My team is that way. And our goal is to represent the lines that we have to the best of our ability, use the support we have at our disposal, and come in and help change processes and change that narrative that the rep model is dying. It's a big paradigm shift. It's a different world out there right now, but embrace the automation, right? Maybe we do need to go a little wider. Automation's a big deal. Everybody thinks it's going to take your jobs. It's not going to. It's just going to make them that much easier and that much better. It's going to make you want to wake up and go in every day, right? So, I mean, embrace it, own it, adapt and overcome. I mean, that's the key.
Eddie, I'm about to go off on a tangent. Is that okay with you?
Run it.
Oh my gosh, because of everything you're just saying, Keith. I wanted you to say it, but I 100% agree with you that rep agencies are needed more than ever. I mean, more than ever, and I'll tell you why. And this is my tangent. I have to do it. I know this is about Keith, but I couldn't agree more, and he's got my blood boiling in excitement.
Lay down, brother, lay down.
You just said, which is, we all know about this labor shortage skills gap thing that's going on, right?
Yep.
If we're lacking experts, but we're gaining more technology and you don't understand exactly how to apply it, we're talking about that last 20%. Everyone's on YouTube watching videos right now for that first 80%, coming into their facility and they order a tool. That last 20% is why it breaks. You already brought up the work holding maybe not being good, the tool holding maybe not being balanced, all the different components that make a perfect setup. Yep. That's at 20% that you need an expert to come in. And if we have a void right now in those experts, as there's some are starting to retire and others are starting to learn,
yep,
because of that skills gap and labor shortages, to me, you are more needed than ever. So I wanted you to say it, but that's my tangent because I 100% agree with you.
Yep, couldn't agree more. We're in a unique time right now. And you've got the outgoing skill set and the tribal knowledge, and there's some oral tradition going on, right? I mean, a lot of it's word of mouth to pass it down, right? But if you don't have that skill set and you don't have, dynamic people that want to step into those roles, you're going to lose that. That walks out the door with the retiree. So, you have to have skilled reps. You have to have technical people that have seen it, that can walk in and say, I know this, don't worry about it, right?
Yeah, 100% agree. Eddie, I've hogged enough of the time, buddy.
No, it's a conversation, my man, and I find it interesting because as a decade-long sales guy and then transitioned super passionate into marketing, you think that those would conflict to one another, but I genuinely believe that if we're trying to succeed in manufacturing, it's tricky to find the proper sales model to grow your business. It really is. And so you have the people who are thinking, okay, AI and automation is going to replace a lot of those sales efforts. If we just do good marketing, we won't need the sales human beings. But I'm a firm believer that no matter what AI does for us, it will never replace these experts and the human beings that you have in the field. And your model takes that even further and tightens the frame even more because you're doing that deep approach. I genuinely think that it's fascinating as a sales and marketing guy myself, and I believe that manufacturing needs a lot more of it because it seems like it'd be genuinely a cost saving because you're paid per results. Salesperson, I got paid a lot of cushy salaries for doing not a whole lot sometimes. When I wasn't selling, I was still getting paid. So I think it's a very interesting thing. And was that beneficial to me? Yes, but from a company standpoint, I genuinely believe what you're doing is very interesting. It's challenging and disturbing a lot of complacency. And I'm just kind of curious where you think the future of this model is going. You've obviously invested in it, literally and figuratively, but I'm curious, where does it go from here?
Today's episode is powered by Phillips Haas Training. trusted by over 3,000 machinists, programmers, and engineers who actually know what they're doing. We're talking hands-on CNC training, 100 5-star Google reviews, and a perfect 10 out of 10 rating. Check it out at phillipscorp.com/Tony Gunn. But here's the truth. Downtime is a thief. It steals productivity, profits, and patience. But Phillips Haas Training is the locksmith. Their expert-led, hands-on courses cover alignment, electrical diagnostics, troubleshooting, and programming. You know, the stuff that actually keeps machines running instead of collecting dust. Over 3,000 pros have been through it, dropping 100 5-star reviews and giving it a flawless 10 out of 10. Shops even report up to 50% downtime reduction. That's not even training. That's a license to print money. Learn more at phillipscorp.com/Tony Gunn. Phillips Haas Training. Fewer breakdowns, more breakthroughs, and your machine's running smoother than a Black Sabbath riff. Less downtime, more uptime, more profit.
Well, I mean, you made a good point. A lot of people fear marketing. Salespeople fear marketing because they think that the machine is going to replace their efforts in the field.
You're going to make me go off on another tangent. What are you doing to me, Keith?
I'm telling you, embrace the marketing. Marketing should drive sales. I don't want my team out. How can I put it? Cold calling at this point in time should be dead.
Agreed.
The rep model shouldn't be dead. Cold calling should be dead. I shouldn't have to walk in cold anywhere. With all the tools we have at our disposal, we should be able to walk into warm accounts right from the start.
Amen, brother.
It's and you know how we do it. We build out 3-month marketing plans. Our marketing drives our salespeople. So we build out tools that they can walk in. Let's say we're doing a monthly sales meeting with one of our supply channel partners. My guys don't have to think about what to talk about in that meeting. All they have to do is look at their marketing calendar. They pull out the flyers that we build 3 months in advance, and that's what you sell because that's what our manufacturers value. We only built it because the manufacturers we represent want to sell those products. So don't go in and wing it. Don't go in and do an overview, one of my favorite things on earth, an overview. You know what I mean? Because that's what people think of with a rep. Well, I'm going to get an overview. I'm going to get I'm going to get the first 20%, not the last 20%, right? And that's overviews in my opinion. Let's go in, let's be targeted, let's be strategic about what we're talking about, and let's start closing deals. It's expensive to drive around and cold call. Like, things have changed. That's an expensive model. If you can warm the environment before you have to enter it, that's how you want to be. That's where we try and build out that marketing plan to make that work. So future-wise, again, I think the rep model is stronger than it's ever been. And if you embrace the AI and you don't fear the chat GPTs of the world, it can actually become a tool. I mean, it's a tool that you can use to your advantage. You just have to be able to learn it, adapt, overcome that obstacle. That's the key. I mean,
I want this interview to be over right now because he said everything that that was amazing. I obviously we're not, because we have more we want to say. We have more we want to discuss, but damn, that was good, Keith. Thank you for doing that. You took the words right out of Eddie and I. It's stuff we preach every single day, isn't it? I mean,
every day.
Good Lord, you couldn't have said it better. I want to discuss a topic that I think is important for the people out there to understand who are considering whether they do or don't want to work with a rep agency. And that to me is the constant need to create success in a quicker way, because we have to get there quicker. But by doing that, having one person we call to do multiple things for us that are expert at multiple things. So I say it that way, I phrase it that way because you have different lines.
Yep.
You can go in as an expert with different lines that support each other, so you can actually put a full solution into a shop in certain areas where required, right?
Right, exactly. It's multiple ways to open that door. So I mentioned earlier that we don't want to cold call. So what I've tried to do is build a portfolio of lines that when you look at it, it doesn't matter if we're starting with a buyer, it doesn't matter if we're starting with an engineer, it doesn't matter if we're starting with the quality department. We've got a way into that account on our line card. We cover everything from start to finish. So it's about removing excuses, right? That's what it's all about. We've got a portfolio where if you don't know anyone there, you can email the quality department. There's content, there's data, there's emails available online with LinkedIn. I mean, there's a lot of different ways that we can find contacts, right? Find a contact and find your way in through any department in that company, right? All the manufacturers we work with have an engineering department. All of them have a quality department. All of them have a purchasing department. There's a way to find your door opener. That's what it's all about. So, we don't really, I'll be honest, we don't sell on price. We don't represent price point lines. Everything that we offer is a value line. So we have to make a case, right? So you're gonna work hand in hand with engineers. You're gonna work hand in hand with the quality department. Purchasing's kind of the last thing on my mind. We don't really want to talk price, because if I come in and offer you a solution, what's that worth to you in the long run? It's worth a heck of a lot more than saving a few pennies on the front end, right? Let's fix the process, and then you actually realize the savings.
You know what would be cool? I just thought of this based on what you're saying, Keith. What if when we sold something, we didn't say, hey, this end mill is $50. Easy math, right? This end mill is $50. What if we said, hey, this end mill is going to save you $100,000 a year? And we sold it like that. What if we sold it as results driven instead of upfront costs?
Exactly. Yep. And that's the key. Focus on the long-term win and not the short-term gain.
Right.
I mean, it's trading pennies, we're all going to lose. It's just how it's going to be. But if I come in, I fix a process, now all of a sudden I'm adopted as an arm of that engineering group. I'm adopted as an arm of that machinist. When, let's be honest, everyone's overwhelmed. Less people, more machines. I remember, look at the automotive industry in Michigan. I remember, because I've been here my whole life, I remember when you'd have one machinist on every machine.
Yeah,
Now,
I remember that too.
Now you're lucky if you only have 4 machines to monitor and you're one person. So reducing the labor force, adding on to those machinists that have to monitor multiple machines, that kind of stuff gets tiring. You wear people out and they stop, I don't want to say they stop thinking, but they get to where they need to be and it's good enough. And that's where we come in, and that's that 80%. That's good enough, right? We want to make it perfect. We want to take you to that next level where you're not making parts that are good enough. You're coming in every day, you like your job, you know you have somebody that you can call on and lean on for solutions, and we can get you to that perfection, right? That's what it needs to be. That's Midwest manufacturing. We built the cars that drive the world. We need to embrace that and get back to it.
What does manufacturing mean to, well, everyone? It's the heartbeat of America. It's the creativity that makes all the things around us. If it's not people and if it's not air, take a look around. It's been touched by manufacturing.
The evolution of the reinvention of the American Precision Museum have preservation, education, and inspiration. And we just want to make a difference in the way manufacturing and machine tools are perceived. It's scary to think what this country would look like without manufacturing.
Very well said again. We're closing in on the last few minutes, Eddie. You know this guy quite well. I've taken most of the time because he's got my blood boiling and I loved it. Is there anything that you'd like to bring up? Anything that you think is a good mission statement, ideas, thoughts, as we bring this to a close? We are very lucky to have a lot of podcasts today, and for Keith to be the first one on the show. And we might run out of our voice. We might run out of time. We might have to skip the next few people. He's so good at this. But I'm going to leave it up to you for any kind of closing questions, thoughts, that kind of thing.
No, absolutely. So you're clearly very intentional about the lines you represent. Not just, oh, you, great, I'll have 10. You're very intentional. But before you make these decisions, you have to audit and select because you know there are options. So at FactoryLink, how are you making sure that in this deep approach that you're selecting the right partners, the right solutions that don't have a net negative effect of you not being able to offer what you feel is best? How do you audit that? And how do you go about that?
We go through a vetting process. We honestly, and I'm not exaggerating here, we probably have a 100-point checklist that we go through with every manufacturer that we talk to on the front end. Before we even start talking commission rates, any of that, honestly, it gets to a point where I don't care if you offer X percentage of commission if you can't support us, right? I mean, that's really what it comes down to. That's great. And some agencies might just bring on lines like I talked about earlier, and I'm not going to name names, but more lines. It's quality over quantity. That's how we focus. And that vetting process is extremely important, because if you can't train us, how can you expect us to represent you and do right by you in the field? So you have to have an infrastructure that's already built out to get us trained. You wouldn't hire a direct sales guy and hand him a catalog and say, best of luck. I mean, you wouldn't do it. But I'll be honest, some manufacturers operate that way. And it's like, well, you're the channel expert. That's true. We can offer access to the channel immediately. That's a big advantage that we bring to the table for a lot of manufacturers that are trying to break into a market. However, I don't want to look stupid, right? I don't want my people to look stupid. So I don't want to make excuses, but at the same time, how often do we look in the mirror and say, did we give you all the tools to be successful? Or did we just point the finger when you fell on your face? So there's a lot of stuff that goes into it on the front end, because it's expensive to onboard a principal. It's not cheap. It's a lot that goes into it. If I go through a 100-point checklist and I've got an inside salesperson, Nicole, she's great, you've met her. I mean, when we go through that, it costs money. When we build out marketing plans, it costs money, right? And we're not making anything. Not everybody comes with existing business. Sometimes you're pioneering, right? So it becomes a very expensive process if you don't do all the homework on the front end. So it's a very important point. I'm glad you brought it up.
Yeah, absolutely agree. Keith, you have been a pleasure today.
Thank you.
I would love to have you on longer. I would love to have you on again. We got to figure out how to talk more.
Absolutely.
I really think this could have been another 3.5 hours of conversation that nobody would find boring.
Right.
You are that well spoken. You're hitting all the key points that manufacturers need. You're doing the right things by yourself and by the people you work with. You have the enlightenment to understand how marketing works. All of these pieces come together. We wish you, obviously, Eddie as well, wish you incredible success, continued success, continued growth, but your trajectory is unlimited.
Thank you.
Very well done.
Thanks for having me. It was a pleasure. Great talking with you guys.
Absolutely. For everyone watching, if you guys want to know more about FactoryLink and Keith, give him a call, give him a buzz. He's easy to get a hold of, whether it's LinkedIn. He's obviously looking at it. Hopefully our channels and not just Titans of channels, but he's obviously looking at it. You can reach out there. Google, you can find them. They're very famous. I've known FactoryLink for a long, long time as well. But yeah, reach out. If you're looking for experts to come into your facility, fine-tune your processes, and really tweak what makes it important when we're doing reshoring and getting those costs down and making sure that we're getting parts done right the first time, this is how you have the relationships. These are the people you work with. Thank you all for watching. We'll see you again very, very soon.
That's a wrap on this episode of The Gunn Show. Thank you for tuning in, subscribing, and supporting the manufacturing movement that keeps the world turning. We couldn't do this without you, or without our incredible sponsors who believe in this mission as much as we do. Big thanks to Revelation Machinery, bringing the auction hammer down on deals so good it feels like daylight robbery, but legal. Whether you're buying or selling, they've got your back. To eButter Growth Systems, your factory's secret weapon for scaling up profits, leadership, and sanity. Because spreadsheets don't fix culture, but these guys might. To AMT and IMTS, the innovators behind the biggest show in manufacturing. If you want to see the future, you show up at IMTS. To NTMA, the voice of precision manufacturers across the U.S., fighting for shops like yours every single day. To Tecma, Mexico's premier machine tool exhibition, bridging borders and bringing global technology closer to home. To Shop Floor Coffee, the only coffee that tastes like a 5-axis machine running lights out on a Monday morning, delicious and dedicated to workforce development. And last but never least, the American Precision Museum, honoring the roots of American manufacturing while inspiring the next generation to build what's next. Powered by MTDCNC and fueled by passion, this is The Gunn Show. Until next time, stay curious, stay bold, and keep making things that move the world.